Hello, my fellow educators, and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Alicia Verwee, and you're at EDGEucating, where our goal is to keep you on the cutting edge of education. Today, we're going to be sharing with you a webinar that we recently did with Thrively. This webinar is all about how to continue to effectively communicate with your stakeholders during this crazy time that we're in of COVID-19 and the pandemic and all of the restrictions. As you all know, COVID has changed so much about the way that we do our everyday lives. This is no exception in education. We found that the normal things that we do, like assemblies and meeting with parents, have all been drastically restricted or eliminated with all of the COVID stuff that's happened. So what we're going to be sharing with you in this webinar are some ways that we've implemented at our school that have been successful for us and really effective ways, and the parents have truly enjoyed several of these methods. So we really think that you will find them productive for you as well, and hopefully you get some great takeaways to really make you continue to be effective in all of your communication methods. Before we jump into the webinar, I need you to do a few things quickly for me. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to share this video so that others can benefit as well. Make sure that you subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell so that you're notified every single time we post a new video. I'm going to go ahead, we're going to jump in, and hopefully you get some great takeaways.
Welcome, ladies. I'm so excited to have another installment of how do we give to our teachers and our communities of teachers, and so excited to engage in conversations about communicating with all stakeholders. We are joined today. I'm Jeanette from Thrively, and we have Alicia and Carrie who are coming from EDGEucating. Please check them out. I know Carrie or Alicia has put something in the chat and she'll share out a little bit, but as former educators and administrators, we are coming to you to give resources and to share great thoughts. And certainly if you have any questions or want to share your story, the chat box is open. So thank you for joining us today, and I'll open up the floor to Carrie and Alicia. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Carrie, and Alicia and I created EDGEucating to keep our fellow teachers and administrators and even parents on the cutting edge of education. And that's why we came up with our name, EDGEucating. We are excited to give you some of the tips that we have learned over this school year with communicating with stakeholders. And when I say stakeholders, I'm talking about teachers, I'm talking about the students, and I'm talking about the parents. Also reaching out into the community. So what we're going to share today are different things that we did over this school year, even though we had to do all this social distancing. But we're going to do all of this stuff all next year because it turned out to be such a really great thing for us to do. So I'm going to share my screen with you just so I could show you some different things that we did this year. All right. So when we kick off a regular school year, we have like a parent night where the parents can come in and they can talk to the teacher, and they see where the student's classroom is, and they can bring in supplies, and they can meet the teacher. They can see them face to face on exactly who their teacher is and how much they are ready to do with them and where their seat is. Well, we couldn't have that parent night because of COVID. We also have parent orientation nights where the parents come in and they talk to the teachers all about different communication that they have. Like if they do a weekly newsletter, they talk about the curriculum that they're going to teach, how much homework they're giving, their transportation needs. But this year we had to talk about a whole lot more stuff than we would in a normal school year. We had to make so many changes when it came to things like in the building level, things like drop off and pickup. How did that change because of COVID? Our breakfast procedures, and where everything was now located in the building for our new students. With our open house, the students were able to tour the building, and their parents were able to see, this is where you get dropped off in the morning, and this is how you walk to class. All of those things were important, wonderful things that were in a normal school year, but it is absolutely ruined by the social distancing requirements that we had to have in our building. Parents were also extremely curious about how were we dealing with COVID, and what were the classrooms going to look like. We saw so many different pictures of what classrooms were like with dividers and new seating arrangements, that our parents were curious about that, yet they were not able to come into the building. So our answer to that was to create some videos. And when you create a video, it's out there for the world to see, unless on YouTube you mark it to private or unlisted. We did not want our videos out there for everyone. It was just for our parents. But one of the videos that we put together was a video of me talking about our theme and giving a tour of the building. I just want to show you just a quick clip of that video. I happen to be wearing the exact same outfit, but in this video, it's my introduction to the parents.
So Carrie, we can't hear the video. It might be that the volume, the way you're connected to Zoom, might be
All
not
right,
working.
well, I'll just tell you what I'm doing. So this is just an introduction, and I'm talking about our theme, and I'm talking about some different things. And then I'm pretending that I'm excited that we see somebody outside, and we're gonna go see what our campus looks like. And then I did a simple voiceover talking about this is what morning drop-off looks like. We have our mascot that's out there, and I'm able to talk about the different bus drop-off, car drop-off, and then also in this video, we go through things like breakfast procedure, because our breakfast procedure is going to be completely different. This was completely different this school year, but the parents were able to see through this video exactly how the kids were going to be seated at the tables, how different they were, that we only have 3 children to a table. So different things like procedures and drop-offs and what the building looks like was really something that I felt was important to our parents and to our teachers, to be able to get that communicated with the parents and the new students. These videos were also a great thing to distribute throughout the school year. We were able to communicate with parents of our new students, just like we were communicating with them at the beginning of the year. I think that communication throughout the school year sort of tapers off with introducing ourselves to the teachers, introducing the new procedures to new students as they come in. So one of the other videos that our teachers put together was this video. This was my kindergarten teachers. They just showed this is what their classroom looks like. They were able to introduce each other, the teacher and the assistant. This is what your classroom's going to look like. This is what seating is like for us now. But new students and students throughout the school year were able to get these videos on a regular basis, and that regular communication between the parents and the teachers started off with a great introduction and positive communication. One of the things that the teacher's doing right now is showing, this is what I look like, and this is what I look like with a mask. That was something that I really wanted to show you in this video, because a lot of kindergartners had never seen their teacher. They won't see them without a mask on. And so communication isn't just what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. And we really wanted the kids to be able to see, this is what your teacher looks like on a regular basis. This is what your room looks like. And then this is where you might be sitting. One thing that we had in our building, we used to have team shirts, but this year we got aprons so that everybody could take that apron off at the end of the day and wash it, sort of like a lab coat for like when the doctors are in their doctor's office, they have their lab coat so that they can keep the germs at bay. Well, it was the same thing we did with our aprons this year, trying to keep the germs at bay.
The kids were super excited about these videos, by the way. They all came in on the first day, just going on and on about how they saw us on the video. So they did watch them with their parents.
Also, we were able to track how many people actually watched the video because we posted them on Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube, and that keeps a track of how many views there are. And so we could see how many people actually watched the welcome video for kindergarten, first grade, second grade, all the way through sixth grade. The other video that the teachers put together was an orientation video. Those videos were much longer, but the teachers were able to send those videos out to the parents once the school year started through a regular communication app that we use, which was Remind. And so on the screen right now, I've got two that we recommend, Remind and Class Dojo. They're very similar to each other. Our goal at the beginning of the school year was to enroll all of our parents, every single parent in the building enrolled in Remind. And it's just a very simple app that they download. You send an invitation to the phone numbers that we have that they registered their children with. And that Remind app gave us the ability to talk literally on a several times a day basis to be able to update individual parents about children and what's going on, what's not going on, behavior issues, bragging time, but also you're able to communicate with the entire class at the same time. Like instead of sending out flyers and those newsletters that you would normally get, you can send that on these apps, both Class Dojo and Remind. We cut down on so much paper this school year by communicating through this app and through, social media and that sort of thing. We just found that parents were not looking at that folder that they had done previously. In previous school years, the kids would go home and their folder would have the newsletter in it or the flyer about pictures or whatever, the calendar for the month. Well, we don't send those home to everybody anymore physically. We send it out on those apps. And the parents are able to pull that back up and have that communication. These are also awesome because the communication that you have with parents, you have documentation of the conversations, and you're able to go into both of these apps and you could print the conversations that you have with a parent. This is for positive things and for negative things. One of the issues that I have as a building principal, parents or teachers will come in and say, the teacher said this, the parent said this, and I can go to the teacher and say, I need you to print off the conversations with this parent so I know exactly who said what, the dates, the times. So regular communication with parents between the teachers and between the office and the parents. These two apps really were critical to our communication this school year. A lot of parents, they would say, oh, well, I didn't know, and the teacher didn't tell me. And I was able to go and look on the communication and say, well, she told you, in January that he wasn't doing well and he wasn't doing his homework. I'm following up because of that conversation. So these two apps really were integral in making sure that our communication was done on a regular basis. Now,
and Carrie, let me just jump in there. It's great for that situation, but also from a very positive standpoint, as teachers, we were very concerned about implementing this at the beginning of the year, feeling like it was going to lose some of that personal touch. And actually, quite the opposite happened. I had more communication with parents this year than I've ever had in the past before. The parents just really felt like they had a more one-on-one connection with the teacher. And so they were much more comfortable, shooting me a text over Remind in the middle of the day about, oh, I forgot to tell you, Johnny started new medicine, or, oh, I just wanted to check in. We had something happen at home this morning, so Susie may have this going on today. So it was a lot more parental involvement than what we've ever had in years past. So it really turned out to be a super positive thing between the parents and the teachers this year.
One of the things that we're required to do every school year, because we are a title school, is a comprehensive needs assessment. And that is done through a survey of the parents. In previous years, we would send directions home with a link that the parents were asked to go to. But this year, we put that link into a Remind message. It came directly to the parent's phone. They could click on the link. They could complete that survey and then immediately get notification that the survey was complete. And we asked the parents to just do a screenshot of that and send it back, and we would give their child a free dress coupon. The value of a free dress coupon at our school is enormous. That means that they do not have to wear their school uniform on whatever day that they choose, because they could turn in the free dress coupon. We had more parents participate in completing the comprehensive needs survey this school year than in the past 10 years combined. Alicia, have you ever seen those numbers like that before for us?
No. And we had the same thing with our
You're muted.
surveys this year. Again, electronic survey
Right.
that went out to the parents.
It was really a great communication device, those apps. So we really highly recommend those. So another form of communication that we have on a regular basis with between me and my teachers and my paraprofessionals was faculty meetings. So every faculty meeting that we had this school year was done virtually, but we did it over Google Meet. And by doing it through Google Meet, we were able to practice for really the most important form of communication that I have in my building, and that is pep rallies. So for every faculty meeting, the teachers were sent an invitation. They would accept that invitation, put it on their calendar. When it was time for our faculty meeting, everyone would join the meeting, just like you're doing right now with this webinar. And then we would do whatever our business was, and we were able to practice with things like what the layout would look like, how to pin the speaker or how to highlight the speaker. So not only did we have our regular faculty meeting information, but it was also practice for my teachers in preparation for other forms of video presentations that we were going to do throughout the school year. And that brings me to our pep rallies.
And that also is something in terms of parent and teacher communication that I want to say is the fact that the parents didn't physically have to come to the school to have a conference. It was unbelievable the number of people we actually got attending parent conferences that in years past we just chased and never could seem to pin them down to come in. So that was a big deal as well.
So our pep rallies this school year were so much more different, so different. It was indescribable in trying to figure out how was I going to socially distance, but still have my entire building come together in celebration of our accomplishments, because that's the point of our pep rallies. We have them every 9 weeks to celebrate the different accomplishments that our students have had for the different goals that we have set for them. So the way that we did our pep rallies this school year, and I know that it's going to continue next year, is I spend a few days of a week going into each individual classroom and playing a very simple minute to win it type game that met all of those social distancing criteria. Like, we couldn't share materials. We couldn't have people within 6 feet of each other. So some of the games we did were like cup stacking competitions, where I would time them and see how quickly they could stack, or give them a time limit. And this is how many cups you had to stack into a pyramid. We had different games like tossing things into baskets, catching things. So the pictures that I'm showing here was a competition that I had between my teachers, where I gave them 30 seconds and they had to just stack the cups. Well, you know, only one class got to see that game being played in their classroom, but I played some kind of game in every single classroom in my building. And then as that happened, I videotaped it. As I videotaped each activity, I sorted them into different teams, because we have different teams. And then during my pep rally, that's a picture of me conducting a pep rally in my spacesuit. Our theme this school year was success, the final frontier. And so everything that we do was related to space. And so that's me in my helmet. And
She just likes to play.
I do like to play in my videos. So as I acknowledged each goal that the students attained, then we would celebrate by playing a game, and I would just play a video of the different games that were going on. The best thing that I learned this year related to doing our pep rallies was an app called iMovie. For me to make videos on a regular basis, all I needed was an iPad, the app iMovie, and an internet connection. That app is really, really very simple to use. It was a great resource for us, because you could make a simple video, short video, using your iPad. I could take all of those movies and make them into individual clips into one single movie. So even though I had 20 different clips, I sorted them by game, and I was able to make one video for this particular game, another video for that particular game, and a third video for the last game that we played. And then as my pep rally happens and I'm talking to everybody in my building, my office is sort of located in the middle of our building. And I would say things like, hey, let's hear it for our yellow Saturn Sonics. And you could literally hear the building roar with them being excited and cheering on their classmates and teammates. As they watch the videos, I just added some music, and it really makes it a fun and interactive pep rally, but yet we didn't have to be in an auditorium or a gym. We were still able to communicate the pride that we have, the expectations, the encouragement to the students who didn't reach those goals, but yet we were able to still acknowledge and communicate with all of the stakeholders that are in our building through video, through games, through different meetings. And it was really such an interesting experience for me, but yet my central office staff, this past pep rally, I invited them to the pep rally, and it's really just an invitation. They joined in just like a webinar, and the assistant superintendent was watching it, and the superintendent walked by and saw my face with that ridiculous helmet on. And of course, he's like, what's going on over at that school? And he comes in, and all the excitement that was going on in our virtual pep rally drew a crowd even at central office. So you're able to communicate with, just because you can't have face-to-face meetings with people does not mean that you can't communicate with them in a very positive way. there were a couple of articles that we wrote and called Elevating School Climate and Culture with Social Emotional Learning, Communicating with Stakeholders. Those two articles contain some more detail on how we communicate with our parents. And then I wanted to share too this video I put together called Lights, Camera, iMovie. And that includes some instructions on how to use the app to make a movie that you can share through YouTube or through email or Dropbox, depending on the things that you're already used to. Alicia?
I dropped all of those links in the chat for you. So if you guys want to go directly to any of those, just hit that in the chat. I also put in the chat for you how to sign up for our newsletter. You won't get bombarded with a bunch of spam and all of that stuff. We are educators as well. We understand the number of emails that you get. So you're going to get that once a month newsletter, just kind of letting you know some key things going on and good information for you. If you or someone you know is also dealing with STEM or robotics in your building, you may want to go to our site and check out our playbooks that launched today. And that's just at EDGEucating.com. There's some awesome free resources there for you to access as well. And we hope that you enjoyed today. If you send information on the form that Jeanette put into the chat also, fill out your email and your information. We'll send you a copy of the slide deck from today and Tuesday's webinar so that you can have access to that as well.
And I know that Thrively is starting a parent portal, right?
Yes, we've got a couple of things coming up. And in fact, thank you for that kind of layup right there. I'm going to share my screen for just a minute and kind of talk. And again, you know, you talk so much today about shareholders and so many times we've talked about building that climate and culture. And I want to highlight one thing many people who have maybe been on the Thrively platform before and they think about as we as teachers work with students. And obviously we've got lots of social emotional learning and career and technical education pieces, so many different ways that we can explore with students, but don't forget about our staff. And I love that you're so staff focused. You know, we can absolutely have our staff members take the strengths assessment. We've got so many different strengths assessment. What if you knew, Carrie, all the strengths of all your staff members? Their habits of mind, right? And you really start to build on this idea behind, you know, what are our strengths and how do I maybe give you opportunities to be on committees or on teams with people that have like-mindedness or maybe heterogeneous groups. And as we start to think about, you know, closing out the school year in a couple of months and how we want to start off, we can certainly do a lot of professional development through the platform. I know you guys have so many resources about professional development. So if anybody here is looking for, you know, people to come support your administration or your school as you start to ramp up and thinking about, you know, closing down for the year and getting ready for next year, you know, really focusing on this faculty piece and then launching into playlists. What if we had a playlist all about, you know, empathy and how we take care of each other, right? Empathy and understanding as we start off the school year. You jump in and you start to think about, you know, what can I do to be a leader? Now, this one is obviously for K2, but we do have them in here for adult learners. And, you know, so building that climate and culture, this bucket filling thing is close to my heart because I had a principal very similar to you, Carrie, who walked around as Buck and Phil, and they were dressed up very glamorously in all these wonderful colors. And we were all about bucket filling each other and our students and our staff. We even have parents making t-shirts now that talk about being a Goethe bucket filler, right? So I think you can really build that climate and culture so that everyone feels loved and supported. We need to take care of each other, everybody. Thrively is trying to do that one student at a time, one staff member at a time. If you want more information about Thrively, please let me know. We're in this journey together. And I just want to reinforce how much I am appreciative of all of the people that join us and are doing the hard work with students. but most importantly, the administrators like Carrie who are out there. You guys have a lot on your plate and you don't get enough hugs through the airways and real hugs to just say, you know, you're the ones holding us up a lot of times. And we really do appreciate all the ideas that you've brought to the table today. So I want to just kind of stop a minute or two early and see if any of the participants have any questions. It could be related to this webinar. We've got a lot of great minds sitting right here. So if you have any questions and you want to pop it in, please feel free. If you don't have any questions, fill out that form and we'll certainly share some resources with you and hope that you share them you know, with others that you know as well. I'm going to also go ahead and put in the chat if we want to follow each other, if anybody has some Twitter handles that they'd like to share. I know I just shared a really fantastic opportunity that we're going to be launching at Thrively with some organizations that you all may be very familiar with. So that press release is coming very soon. Very excited to share that. But you can follow me on Twitter at @JRGorolnik. And if anybody else has any other share outs, please feel free. It looks like we are good. So thank you again, everybody, for coming. We will follow up with a recording and lots of resources, and have a great Friday. Hopefully you're off getting ready for, maybe you're on spring break or what have you, but please take care of yourselves and continue taking care of each other.
Hopefully you were able to take away some great information and tips that you'll be able to take back and implement at your school, if not all of them, and that your stakeholders will continue to feel safe, secure, and informed. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you here next time. Happy teaching!